you've tried winter sowing Japanese maples, well, I'm going to show you how I do it and how I get an array of Japanese maples virtually for free. Yeah, I did this a few years back. And if you've watched any of my garden tours, you will have seen some of the Japanese maples I have grown from seed. So I wanted to share that with you, because if you come across seeds, and this is what they look like, just so you know, they have these little wings and they fly down, well, float down from the tree when they're ripe, usually in the fall sometime. And this came from a friend's tree. She has one we have nicknamed Cousin It because it is just so gorgeous, draping down, and that's what it looks like, if any of you knows the Addams Family television show or movie. Anyway, so let's start with our soil. I use potting soil. I have sifted it because this one has some wood particles in it and I wanted it to be a little more refined, but there's still some in there. And then I added some more perlite to make it nice and loose. Now, with Japanese maple, they do need some winter stratification. Some people will soak the seeds before even placing them in any kind of seed starting medium. But I have never have, and I've not had any struggle. So, yeah, it's a total possibility there. Okay. Anyway, so I use recycled containers. The trees can go in this because as soon as they're big enough, I normally pot them up or it'll be time to open the lid. It takes a while. It takes 90 days of cold and wet for them to germinate, or I should say to be stratified. And then once it warms up from then, at least that's what I've read. Now, when I started them before, it took a long time for them to germinate. So I totally believe that about the stratification needing to be that long. So I fill up my container. This one had super greens in it. Also, this one over here I could use if I wanted something smaller. Maybe I will use this one. I have two ways I want to go about it this time. So I'm going to use this one with strawberries that I got at probably Costco. Let me get my scooper. This is an ice scoop, and I don't know what size it is exactly, but I got it off of Amazon, and I love it out here for scooping soil into things. It just does a fantastic job. So I'm basically just going to put a few inches of the soil perlite mix. Now this was a potting soil I bought and sieved. I normally enjoy making my own from a compost, but I'm out at this moment. So I do have a DIY soil making video out there and blog post, but I've kind of changed my recipe even from that, so I need to redo it. I just need to get some of that compost that I buy from a local organic turkey ranch. All right, so I have the soil in here. Now I will put it in this water here. I was doing some hollyhocks here, winter sowing some hollyhocks, and I was letting it soak up from the bottom. And this was a small plant that came up inside of my African violets when I potted them up, so I potted up in here to let it keep going. All right, so with the seeds, I have removed the wings. So some people say you don't need to do this, but I do. So all I do is just pull it off. Just pinch it off, and I'll set this seed right there. And I'll do that for all of these that I put in here. I'll clip the wings off. I should try maybe leaving some of the wings on, but I already have a bunch here that I've done. So I'm going to sow them probably an inch apart in here. And just know that the more you sow, the more you're going to get, because some may not germinate, and who knows why. Now I have gotten trees that have red leaves. I have ones that have more of an orange or a peachy colored leaves. I have some that have big leaves. I have some that have the fine thread, is it called thread leaves? Or lacy leaf type. I have a Crimson Queen, but even if I collected seeds from the Crimson Queen, it wouldn't come true to the Crimson Queen. Now you could use these if they weren't a color you preferred having, or if you wanted something a little bit fancier, kind of like the all the different named Japanese maples, then these could be the base tree, and then you could graft on the named varieties that you would like to try to grow. Or if there's certain leaf attributes, etc., like the lacy leaf ones. Now there's all kinds of named ones, and I have a friend here who does know how to do the grafting. I am not real sure about that, but he has said he would teach me. And these would be great to practice on because I'm not out anything really, just some soil, recycled container. I'm punching the seeds down. See, I had put them in here. I guess I don't have the camera tilted down enough, but I'm in kind of a hurry here. Anyways, so I have them pushed down into the soil. You want the soil to be fairly firmed in. And basically that's what I'm doing, firming it down, the seeds down. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the top. Now you want them to be covered because they need to get wet and then cold. So, and I have hundreds more over here to do if these don't do anything. Okay, so there's that one. This is going to be set in here, and I will let it absorb water. Okay, make sure that it has plenty of water in it. This is rainwater. I catch all the rainwater I can and use because I just feel like it's better than our municipal water. But there we go. Now it'll soak it up overnight. You could pour water on top before you put the seeds in, but I have not found that to be necessary, and it's just easier for me, you know, to tamp them down, cover them, all of that, if the soil isn't completely damp. It is just a preference. It is not something that you must or must not do. So what is another way? You could moisten one of these. This is a coffee filter, or you could use a paper towel. Let me move this out of the way. I have a baggie here. Let me see, can you see down here? Barely. Let me tilt the camera up. All right, so this is a coffee filter. And now I'm gonna moisten it. And that's plenty because the moisture can spread throughout. See this? And I'm placing it here. And I'm gonna put some more of these seeds on this damp coffee filter. And I'm going to space them again about 1 inch apart. I got a bunch here to put on here. I'm putting it on 1/2 of the coffee filter. I'm just eyeballing it and I'm not measuring it. Making sure I get plenty in here. As I said, the more you do, the more chance you have of success. Who knows if all these seeds are viable? Most likely. I mean, they were picked ripe, meaning they were dried and falling from the tree. And that usually means they are more than ripe, ready to go. All right, so I'm going to fold the coffee filter, the 1/2 over the other half. I'm going to firm it on there so that it is kind of wrapping around the seeds. Let me see if I can pull it up here so you can see the seeds in there, and you can see how they're indented, so the material is kind of going around them. And then I will, this edge is a little dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. I'm just tapping my fingers into the water and adding it to it. I don't want it to be soaking wet where it's dripping. So now I have it folded in half. I'm going to fold it again, press it together, and I'm going to put it into my sandwich baggie. I will put the date on it. I also write Japanese maple in case there's any other seeds I'm stratifying this way. Now, most seeds need both wet and cold to be stratified, not just cold. So many times people will say to just put their seeds in the refrigerator, in the packet or whatever, and that doesn't work, because it needs the moist too. So let me get my pen. Let me see if this is dry. This side's dry. All right, I'm going to put my Japanese maples, and then today's date. Today's the 13th of January. Now, I will put these in the refrigerator for 90 days. And then I will pot them up into a container and put them on my light rack to germinate. And these other ones will go out in the garden. Even though we're having some warm daytime temperatures this week, unprecedentedly warm, because it's going to get into the mid 60s, our nighttime temps are getting down into the upper 30s, lower 40s. So that will be cold enough for these to go ahead and get that stratification. And we will get the moist and cold, or the cold, on through the next 90 days. So if this is the 13th of January, I'll just do a guesstimate. Let me see, February, March, April. So mid to late April, this will have been stratified enough. Now, many times we don't get warm weather until the end of May. So these may not do a thing until then. Whereas these ones may get a head start, me potting them up indoors after the cold stratification period. And that is it, my friends, for winter sowing and stratifying Japanese maple seeds. And I will be sure and bring you back. I don't know if it's going to work this time. Sometimes things just fail. But that is how I've done it in the past, and it has worked very well. So I hope you enjoyed winter sowing some Japanese maples with me. And we won't get to see what kind of leaves and stuff they have for a year or two when they really start growing well. But that is half the fun. So I'll see you next time when we'll talk about something else in gardening. I'll see you in my next video.